Texas lawmakers in the Texas Hill Country today. We begin at 5 with team coverage of an all-day hearing on the road. Lawmakers with a state committee on disaster preparedness and flooding left Austin to hold that hearing in Kerrville today. Our Zaria Oates and Steve Spriester both in the Hill Country. And Steve, we'll start with you. There were some tense moments during this hearing.
Yeah, there definitely were, Myra. Kerr County officials took some tough questions today, and this special hearing started with the mayor of Kerrville saying his community is still grieving the loss of life from the river that's right behind me and saying that they are rebuilding. But there are also a lot of people from this community who came to this hearing wanting answers, and they weren't thrilled with what they heard, including Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. And the questioning particularly came to Kerr County Judge Rob Kelly when he was asked where he was on the day of the flooding. Where was he on July 4th?
I've gotten to know these people, and I think I have to make this point on behalf of them. Judge Kelly, I never saw you on day one. I came here from Austin. In this room, I talked to the sheriff multiple times, Sheriff. I talked to the mayor multiple times. We had a meeting when we got here. Governor Youngkin was here. I was here. The mayor was here. Everyone was here.
Then I wasn't. Then I wasn't.
And you were not. You were not. And I asked the question, where's the county judge? I have covered multiple emergencies in my 10 years as lieutenant governor. This is about as bad of a day as you can have, and I've had a lot of bad days because we didn't just lose people, we didn't know where people were. And you weren't here. I asked where you were for the press conference that night. You weren't here. I don't know where you were on day one on July 4th, but you should have been here. You should have been here directing that response. That's your responsibility. And Charles Swartner asked you the question. I want to set the record straight. I'm not pointing a finger, I'm not blaming you. I just want to set the record straight. Everyone was here that day working their ass off, and you were nowhere to be found.
Timelines, the response, who knew what, when, part of the questioning of local officials. But the fact that no evacuation alert was ever sounded, no staging of fire crews at low water crossings from Kerr County officials were ever set up. And the fact that many of them couldn't be found didn't sit well with members of the committee or family members in the crowd. And calling the flooding event unprecedented and a perfect storm wasn't going to fly either with some of these lawmakers.
Unfortunately, y'all have now experienced something you are saying, I have never heard of or seen this before. We've experienced it in other parts of Texas. And if we can't take advantage of this moment right now for the rest of Texas to recognize, you may not think it's going to happen to you, but it's going to happen. And if we're not prepared for the extreme weather, the system that stalls, then we're not taking advantage of this moment. So the question is, you said at 3:30 when people were having to get off the roofs, that's the moment for all hands on deck. And I'm trying to figure out, is there an existing system that could have gone out to people in floodwaters way to reach higher ground, or are you missing that system?
No, we do have a code red system that something can be put out. Yes, ma'am.
But for whatever reason, in this moment, there was nobody to properly sound the alarm. Is that what I'm hearing?
They did not send the code red. No, ma'am. Until 5:01.
I have numerous folks from our area that have lost family in this event. And it is my understanding that there were little girls with water around their feet at 2 a.m. at Mystic and were told, stay in your cabin. And those little girls did what they were instructed. What, if any, system is there available for Kerr County officials to hear from campsites on the river in a flood zone to better coordinate to send out a warning? Is there any way right now Was there a way for Mystic at 2 a.m. to tell you we have water at our ankles?
So there were a number of National Weather Service alerts that went out that evening.
I'm not asking about the national weather because that's prediction. I'm talking about the reality on the ground of little girls in their bunks with water around their feet at 2 a.m. Did you have any idea that that was happening? And was there a mechanism in place? Because if it's happening at Camp Mystic, you've got every other camp in this recreational zone at risk. What was the protocol in the process to warn people when that scenario comes up?
To my knowledge, we were not notified that the girls had water in their camp.
Did you have a protocol or a process to give you notice and or to seek assistance at that point, or was this private entity on their own?
No, I've had discussions with the camps before, and the process was they need to notify the sheriff's office.
Is there any indication that there was any notification?
I'd have to defer that to the sheriff.
No, ma'am, I don't have any. Oh, no, ma'am, I don't have any notifications.
Now, you heard from a frustrated Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick earlier. As a matter of fact, KSAT, the only San Antonio station to talk with the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker of the House, Dustin Burrows. We're going to have more on their reaction to that testimony that you just heard coming up at 6 o'clock. I also talked to family members who lost loved ones in the flood and rescuers who had their own frustrations, mostly around communications. The fact that there weren't a lot of communications and there was a lot of red tape. That hearing is still going on at this hour at the Kerrville Youth Event Center. That is where the Hill Country Youth Event Center, that's where Zaria Oates is. She joins us now live. Zaria, I know you talked to a lot of families today as well.
Hey, Steve. Yeah, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of families here from the Hill Country area, specifically from Kerrville and Hunt, many of them. A lot of them had differing opinions on how that 4th of July flood went and how first responders were prepared and handled it on the day of. We did hear from several parents, one of them being 11-year-old Emmy's mother. She spoke with some of those lawmakers who are up here asking questions, making sure that we're getting a little bit more information about what's been going on here in the Hill Country from July 3rd through now. A lot of the questions have been about what could be done better in the future, many of them coming from people who have lived in Kerrville, in Kerr County for decades. We spoke with two people who had completely different opinions over what should happen, what should have happened, and what can happen in the future in regards to funding and in regards to a response to flooding. Here's what they had to say.
I came here to show my support for our leaders. If the Texas legislature thinks that there were things that they should have done, then my question would be, why didn't the Texas legislature mandate that and require us to do that?
I want the sheriff to resign, the county judge, and the county commissioners, all 5 of those. We have 3 county commissioners. They should resign. That's what people in a more honorable society would do when they fail.
Lots of differing opinions over how this flood should have been handled and how it can be handled in the future. We do expect to hear from lots more people in the community, especially residents here who were impacted either by death or by damage to their property. We also expect to hear from San Antonio Fire Chief Valerie Fausto. If we hear from her in the next few minutes, we'll give you an update on air and online. Steve.
Thank you, Zaria. And your heart goes out to so many of those families who testified today, many of them in tears, wanting their concerns to be heard. Much more on what's unfolding today in Kerrville coming up a little bit later. But right now, let's talk about the weather situation. And Adam Caskey is back. Adam, we got some wind out here, which is kind of helping it, I guess, not seem as hot as it is. And I'm sure in the Hill Country, I'm maybe a few degrees cooler than you guys.
Yeah, typically. And, you know, we're talking triple digits and rain chances here going forward. Tomorrow, we've got a 40% chance of showers and a few thunderstorms in the afternoon and early evening. Saturday, a 30% chance. And next week, just the off chance, West Texas wild card we have to watch. So we'll get into that later. I want to talk about what's happening out there right now. Very quiet on authority radar. No showers to speak of. Notice the clouds coming in from the Gulf and from eastern areas. Some high clouds, which will make for a nice sunset in some areas, especially along and east of I-35. But notice more organized clouds and even showers from earlier today offshore and near the Gulf Coast. Some of that energy is heading toward us tomorrow, along with a weak boundary that pushes in, a weak cold front that's dropping southward. Not much of a cold front, but a frontal boundary that could kickstart some of those showers. We'll take a look at the newest futurecast coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Adam. Let's take a look at traffic out there right now. This is the TransGuide camera here, I-35 at Laredo. You can see it's really slow going on these upper levels, especially because of some construction in the area. Lots of orange barrels off to the side there, so things slow going during this 5 o'clock commute. New at 5, a San Antonio police officer arrested while on the job. The department saying that Officer Paul Finsick was taken into custody for driving while intoxicated. According to SAPD, Finsick, who's been with them for 18 years, has been on administrative duty. They say they're conducting a criminal and administrative investigation. According to a KSAT analysis, Finsick is the third San Antonio police officer to face legal trouble in 2025. The city attorney's office says they are not San Antonio police officers. New at 5, that is part of the message following a $25 million lawsuit from the San Antonio Park Police Officers Association. That group is demanding formal recognition as well as legal rights and benefits. Park police say they've been denied police status, the right to collective bargaining and pay benefits, even though they've been working under the San Antonio Police Department since 2008. In a statement sent to KSAT today, the city attorney's office says in part, quote, while the city respects the work of our parks and airport police, by training and qualification, they are not San Antonio police officers, end quote. The statement also said that under state law, they are not eligible for collective bargaining agreement benefits.
It was suctioned onto him.
A mother says an octopus grabbed her child and wouldn't let go. This happened at a local aquarium. Coming up, how she says they finally got that octopus to give up. San Antonio police trying to figure out whether a bullet was meant for a driver or for someone else. Either way, a woman is critically wounded as she drove through a turnaround near Loop 410 in Marbach. Katrina Weber shows us why some people say this is just the latest trouble in that area and what one group is doing about it.
While a utility pole brought this car to a halt, San Antonio police say a bullet stopped its driver. A 23-year-old woman was shot Wednesday night in the turnaround near Loop 410 and Marbach Road. Police say someone in a white truck fired at her, then sped away. The woman was whisked away to a hospital.
The times we're living in, things are so wild, so crazy.
Rashid Latif stopped by hours later, checking on the noises he'd heard while picking up dinner at a restaurant in the area.
It could be a variety of sounds, but I'm from New Orleans, but I know what gunshots sound like.
Whatever is affecting him right now, give him the strength that he needs, Father.
The sound of morning prayer replaced that nighttime commotion. A group called Thy Kingdom brought encouragement and nourishment, tacos and coffee, to people living on the streets nearby.
In the past 5 to 10 years, I have been seeing what has been going on this corner right here specifically.
Adrian Barrero grew up in the area and says it has gone downhill, becoming a magnet for homelessness and crime. Police department figures show more than 3,300 calls for violence and drugs in the zip code during the first 6 months of this year.
Barrera says the timing for them being out here couldn't have been more perfect. And he says it's more than just a coincidence. He believes it's divinely inspired.
All we're doing is just blessing this area. I didn't know anyone got shot.
Even before the shooting, the ministry planned to try to pray away the problems. Now they're on even more of a mission. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
I patted it, grabbed on me, and wouldn't let go.
New at 5, a San Antonio mother says her 6-year-old son was attacked by an octopus at the San Antonio Aquarium. Brittany Taryn described the encounter on TikTok, and the videos went viral with more than 1 million views. She told KSAT this happened 2 weeks ago at the San Antonio Aquarium. Taryn said that she noticed the octopus was acting different, but her son still pet the animal because he was familiar with it. She said the octopus then clung onto the child's arm and just wouldn't let go.
Kind of tried to help him get down and away from the glass. So the octopus started to come out up over the glass, and my friend and I were like, we're not sure what to do. There's no employees around, so we started yelling for help. And I tried to have Leo get it off of him. The employee came walking up and just said, she's super playful today. And then he could not get the octopus off, and then he radioed for other people to come help.
Leo was left with a lot of purple bruises on his arm, but he is doing okay. Taryn said that she filed a complaint with the USDA. We reached out to the aquarium for comment, but have not heard back. All right, let's take a look outside with live cam. Another day with plenty of sunshine out there. A few more clouds than we saw yesterday, Adam.
Yeah, and some of those high clouds should give some areas a nice little sunset this evening, a little extra color up in the sky during sunset. I want to get right to our rain chances going forward. And notice in particular tomorrow, they peak around 40% in the afternoon. Between about 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. is when we have that 40% chance. Now, outside of that time frame, pretty limited in terms of any coverage. Now, here's the situation. We have a little upper level swirl to the east of us that's going to be drifting overhead. We also have this boundary in North Texas that's going to be dropping southward, and combined, it gives us that little enhanced chance for a few hours in the afternoon tomorrow. So let's get right to our latest futurecast. And going forward, notice how we'll start the day with a mixture of sun and clouds. We get to 2 p.m., and that's when we could have our first pop-up showers and non-severe thunderstorms. Could be a little bit of lightning and thunder, but we're not expecting anything strong or severe. Flooding, highly unlikely in this situation. And then as that front drops closer to San Antonio and even in the hill country between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., we'll have these widely separated pop-up downpours that generally should be pretty brief in nature. Again, flooding highly unlikely in this situation. And notice how limited the coverage is going to be. Still scattered and widely separated, but come sunset, and especially a couple of hours after sunset, then the activity really fizzles out. But from the hill country all the way through Highway 90 and even just south of Highway 90 and I-10, we'll have that 40% chance in the afternoon tomorrow. Here's the upper level pattern, that weak upper level disturbance closer to Houston, and then also an upper level, the big blue H basically, out in northern Mexico and West Texas. This upper level high is not going to plant itself directly overhead. So that keeps the door open in the steering flow for any West Texas or North Texas storms to organize and push southward. So that's that wild card for next week. Notice the highs off to the west. That gives us this north wind that steers any showers and storms. We just have to watch for that West Texas and North Texas wild card next week, a 10% chance. And that's really kind of spur of the moment. I have to watch the situation. New drought monitors in being Thursday, still Medina County in the exceptional drought, and that's the worst category and the worst for our area. But we have had some improvements, particularly in Maverick County over the past couple of weeks. 100 right now. We did it again today. Dew point of 58, so heat index really not an issue. Kerrville and Daniels Backyard 101, Del Rio 104, Schertz 99, Lavernia 103, Bernie 99 or 98 degrees. And for the most part, we're right around that triple digit mark, give or take a couple of degrees. Stinson on the south side at 102. By 9 o'clock, we're near 90, 11 o'clock at 83. And then tomorrow morning, we start the day at 77, 95 at noon, then 99 the high with that 40% chance, especially along and north of Highway 90 between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. tomorrow. Then a 30% chance Saturday afternoon. Otherwise, generally dry. Just watching out for the West Texas wild card. If that happens to materialize, we'll update you next week.
All right, and coming up in sports, we're going to talk about Cowboys linebacker Kenneth Murray. He was added to the roster because the Cowboys needed some depth, and he says he is a complete linebacker. And Texans CJ Gardner-Johnson is talking about Houston Texans wide receivers, and he says those dudes are super fast. Coming up.
Camping with KSAT, powered by Thomas J. Henry.
Number 59, Kenneth Murray, is new to the Dallas Cowboys this season. Back in March, the Titans traded Murray and a 7th-round selection to the boys for a 6th-rounder. Murray was drafted by the Chargers in the 1st round with the 23rd overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. In 5 seasons, he has 416 total tackles, 8.5 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 2 fumble recoveries. Now here's Murray on the emphasis of defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus wanting his guys to strip the ball away and on what he brings to the boys' defense.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, I think Coach Flus, he comes in with the mentality of just, getting the ball back, takeaways. We have a goal of getting 40 plus. We think that's our mark. That's what we want to hit. And so, every day we're attacking that. So, yeah, we coming out here with the intent to take the ball away. And, so far it's been good, but it's still early, and we got to continue to keep that up.
What's your mission? What do you want to show the Cowboys that you can do and bring to this ball club?
I'm just a complete package. I mean, I feel like, my game is everything: run game, pass rush, pass coverage. I mean, I think I can do it all pretty well. And so I just want to come out here and just be the leader in the middle, make sure I connect the front end and the back end, and just fly around and make plays. I think that's what I do best is just finding the ball, and just flying around. So.
The Dallas QBs were in sync right here with all 3 of them hitting the same target. That's Dak Prescott, Joe Milton, and Will Grier. Safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson in his first season with the Houston Texans, and he brings Super Bowl experience with him, winning it all last season with the Eagles. C.J. was asked, what's it like covering the Texans wide receivers, Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, and rookies Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel every single day at practice? If you wanted speed, well, it resides at Texans training camp.
Like the Daytona 500. We running fast every play. Everybody fast. All the cars competing for first place. We got a fast receiving corps. I'm just gonna be honest. It's probably one of the fastest corps I've seen. But they're a dynamic group with different skill sets. They're diverse, and they understand that CJ needs him. Well, they need CJ, and CJ needs them. And they work very well in practice. And we have our days. They win some, we win some. But today, we got the best of the NASCAR group.
Thank you all. Thank you. The Texans offense, well, they want to go fast, and it appears they're getting what they want. We'll be right back.